Today on Bold Beginnings, I'm sitting down with Dr. Saurabh Verma, a neurosurgeon whose work and perspective remind us that medicine is both a science and an art. His journey is one of dedication, curiosity, and care, balancing cutting-edge surgical innovation with deep empathy for his patients. In our conversation, we'll explore what inspired him to pursue neurosurgery, how he approaches his challenges in such a demanding field, and what he's learned about the human spirit through healing the brain. I'll start with the first question then. What inspired you to become a neurosurgeon?
Maybe I was slightly naive in my decision, but what happened was when I was already a doctor, in our part of the world, we call it MBBS, so it is not a specialist job. I lost my mother due to a neurosurgical ailment. So although it may sound quite melodramatic, but then, and it is true that I'm not able to save every patient of neurosurgery, but at that moment, that was what inspired me to pick up this gauntlet and go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry for your loss, but that's beautiful how you made that your inspiration. Thank you. And then next question is, what does a typical day in your life look like as a neurosurgeon?
Oh, so again, I'll talk about my part of the world in my country, that is India. To put it briefly, the moment you reach the parking lot of the hospital, life suddenly goes into a fast forward mode, 5x. So it is like a switch on and switch off phenomena. So life goes into the fast forward mode. The moment you park your vehicle in the parking lot of the car, the day is like a whirlwind. It's all a blur. And suddenly it would revert back to the switch off mode or the normal mode when you switch on your car to go back home. That's a typical day. And every second day at my center, we are supposed to be on call for the night. So after the working hour till the next day morning, you're supposed to be on emergency call. Depending on the number of cases you receive, you're at stand to. So that's how it is.
So you're busy.
Yeah, quite hectic.
So what are the most challenging aspects of your work?
To put it honestly, I don't know how much you would relate to it. You know, in neurosurgery or neurology, you have to preempt. You cannot correct. You should not rather try and correct things once they go wrong. You have to be proactive and preempt before the things go wrong and take corrective measure. So you're continuously thinking. You have to think ahead of the time. That is what is the most challenging job. Not exactly the surgery part, the planning part, I mean.
Okay. And then what has been one of your most memorable or impactful surgeries, if you would like to share?
I'm 56 years old and I've been doing it for a long time. It will be very difficult for me to pick up one particular case. There have been many, but emotionally speaking, the most satisfying cases are those who are unconscious before the neurosurgical intervention. And when they wake up after the intervention, it is extremely gratifying.
That's nice. And then what skills or traits do you think are most important for someone pursuing neurosurgery? I'm really interested in the field, so I thought this question would be nice.
The most important trait which you need for neurosurgery is dedication. So, in neurosurgery and so also in cardiology and obstetrics, time is patient. So, when you get a call, you cannot say, I will finish my lunch and then see the patient, or I'll finish my movie and then see the patient, or I'll finish the picnic and then go and see the patient. Uh, uh, it has to be immediate. Everything is now. So the most important aspect is the dedication part of it. It is not just another job. You should pick it up. If you have a passion for it, it will ask for its pound of flesh. It will take its toll. If you enjoy it, only then you should take it up. Yeah?
Okay. Thank you for the advice. And I know going into the field takes a lot of work, so how long did your training and education take, and what kept you motivated through it all?
This might be different in your country, but in our part of the world, we have separate degrees. So the initial part is called MBBS. It takes 5.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It is followed by post-graduation, which is called MS, that is Master of Surgery. It will take 3 years. So that makes it 8.5 years. And then 3 years more for the neurosurgical training. So if you have been competing throughout continuously, it will take you 11.5 years after your 12th class to become a neurosurgeon.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I think,
Yeah,
like you said,
long time.
dedication is important.
Yeah.
And then, what role do you think neurosurgeons play in raising health awareness in the community?
So again, how relevant this would be, but from what I have heard, and my brother stays in US of A, so I've been there for some time. I have been trained in the Cleveland Clinic,
Wow.
for around 2 weeks in Gamma Knife Center.
Mm-hmm.
There are no rights and wrongs, but things are different in different countries. We are more accessible to the population in my country, you know. So, despite my country not being so literate as your part, because we are fairly accessible, not much of health awareness. I feel it is quite adequate. People now come here in time, and there is a special field of medicine which is called preventive medicine, again in this part of the country. And it is primarily their job to guide the general population about the preventive aspect of health, how and when to report sick, what precautions to be taken. We don't directly deal with that as a neurosurgeon.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
And then, are there any common neurological conditions in the community that people should know more about, that you think?
Yeah, again, so I partly covered this in my previous answer. I don't know whether you're aware or not, but I was working for the armed forces of the country till around 3 years back, and so we have got a system which cares from the womb to the tomb. That's what it is said, and so again, we have this community medicine kind of a thing, the preventive aspect. We don't directly deal with it except for the spine care part of it. Um, um, Taking care of the mental health is more in the domain of psychologist or the psychiatrist. There are very few neurosurgical problems of the brain as such, which have been proven to be a direct relationship of mental health, so-called. Spine, yes. So, in our part of the world, in our community, especially in the armed forces, we take care of the spinal exercises routinely and regularly. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this flows really well into the next question. Are there any general tips or advice you have for young people to maintain like good nervous system health or good spinal health specifically?
Yeah. So there is a system of spinal exercises. In fact, they say sitting is the new smoking. There's something called the text neck telephone, the mobile phone, the cell phone, which you call it that side. They're quite harmful for the spinal health. So the correct posture, the adequate exercise, if you're talking about mental health, in our part of the world, we believe yoga and meditation work wonders with mental health. The physical exercise is extremely important for spinal health. I cannot tell you in a nutshell in 30 seconds, but then yes, exercise and the correct sitting posture play a great role in spinal health.
Okay. And then this is actually the last question, so what message would you like to share with young people who want to create change in the health sector? This is a little bit more of a broader question.
I don't know whether it would be relevant in
It's okay,
US
yeah.
of A.
Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
But in my part of the world, there is one change which I would desperately like to make, and that change would be to make the healthcare affordable to one and all.
I think that applies everywhere. Yeah.
So despite the healthcare in India being much more economical than what you see in your part of the world, uh, there is still miles to go before we sleep.
Thank you, Uncle. Yeah.
Right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for your time. Yeah.